Hey everybody, this is Jeff from Intergalactictoys coming at you. Alright, so today our episode is about full-scale toys. And here's my full-scale toy, the 1978 Volkswagen Scirocco. I was told 20 years ago that they were getting rare, and you know what? They are. This MK1 Scirocco, very, very hard to find one in this condition. This is not restored. I would love to restore it. That's my plan for it. We'll see in the next couple of years how that turns out. It has had a lot of upgrades, but it's still underneath this hood. It's still the 1.5 liter, 70 horsepower. It was a 4-speed. It got updated. See, I bought it in 2001. The transmission got updated to a 5-speed out of a 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit back in like 2003. So back then it was a daily driver for the first 3 years I had it. And a lot of this gear that's on there is from, say, 2004, 2005 at the latest. If you saw the intro, you saw the Corbeau racing seat, the Sparco shift knob, the extra VDO gauges that I put in it. Even these American racing rims, these 15 inches, were put back in the day. So most of this has been on the cars for a long time. Now the car is not a daily driver, but it's in daily driver condition. And as you can see, it's a perfect candidate for restoration. So that's where I'm going with it. I love to drive it around. I drive around locally. It is garaged. My cat sleeps on it. He loves to hang out with the car, and he's constantly putting his dirty prints. I don't have a car cover. I mean, to buy one, I just put blankets and sheets and cover it, but sometimes they fall off, and like I said, sometimes, my cat gets on there, which he's right here right now, and dirties it up. So I just wiped it real clean. It needs a clean wash. It needs that. And one thing, if you saw, the interior is original, other than, again, the racing seat obviously is not, the steering wheel, the shift knob, the video gauges, no. But the carpeting, all that, the headliner, all that is original. The mirror. These side view mirrors are from back in the day. I put them on. They're not stock, but they're stock looking, as close to stock as you're going to get. So I'm gonna, if I can, pop the hood and show you underneath the hood of the car. The only recent stuff I had done to it was stuff to keep it running, like battery. It got, it had a slow leak from the tranny and the engine. I had a fuel pump, a couple of fuel pumps put in over the last few years, fuel pump relay, a fuel hose, so things like that. But very minimal stuff, not major. But again, I try to keep it maybe 3 to 4 times a month is what I drive it. Sometimes more, it just depends, but it's all very local around here. All right, so you guys want to know a little bit about the Volkswagen Scirocco. 1975, the MK1 Scirocco barely beat the Rabbit out of the gate. This is a Giugiaro. That is the famous Italian designer that won Car Designer of the Century, voted by the international community for the 20th century, okay? And he had 50 years of design. When I was born, his company was Ital Design in 1968. And so this car, he's done many, many cars through his lifetime, and that company lasted till about 2010. He's still alive. I believe he's in his 80s, retired. And there's an interview on YouTube I've seen of Giugiaro. And you all know his designs. You all know his DeLorean from Back to the Future, his Lotus Esprit from the James Bond Spy Who Loved Me film, and many other cars, Di Tommaso, Mangusta, and so forth. He's done a lot of amazing cars. This is a low-budget daily driver for Volkswagen. Now, what made this really cool back in the day was that this car was the first water-cooled Volkswagen. So, yeah, other manufacturers were making water-cooled cars and stuff like that. But they were air-cooled, right? Porsche was air-cooled. They were air-cooled. You had the engines in the rear. You had the carburetors. A lot of them were drum brakes, things like that. And not this car, though. This car was the welcome to the modern era. Nowadays, cars are being, the last many, many years now, you've got hybrids and you've got electric, EVs coming out. So, this is now dated. It's old tech. But, and believe me, it's all analog in there. There's nothing digital. So it is old tech. But it is modern in the sense that it lasted for many decades. Cars with that were front-wheel drive. They were fuel injected. Okay, this is fuel injected. It is well, and it's water cooled, and I love it. Back in the day, used to call them water pumpers, and so that's awesome. It's got the radiator and all the hoses, and really easy to work on. It's a 4-cylinder. It only has 70 horsepower. They went up to 90 horsepower. I have had 6 Sciroccos in my lifetime since 1984, which was a brand new MK1, but second generation. This is the first generation. And there's some cool stuff. Besides mentioning that it was the very first water-cooled front-wheel drive Volkswagen and fuel-injected, the Scirocco also, the second generation, one of the cool things about that car is it had that roof-mounted FUBA antenna that did a lot of cars. In fact, this Fiat still has that FUBA antenna on it, and this is the 2014, and that lasted for decades. People are like, oh man. Of course, satellite came out, the little satellite fins. There's my cat. Hey, say hello, Neptune. The satellite radio took over and you got those fins like on my BMW over there. That's my daily driver, the BMW on the street. This one I took out today. I'm not going to clean it. It's really cold. I just wiped it down, like I said, for this video. Just been meaning to really shoot a video of this car because, you know, you just don't see them anymore. And I always hear that. Every time I drive them out, people are like, oh, I haven't seen this in over 20 years, this car. I get a lot of thumbs up and things like that. And I really want it to I want to be able to drive it further out there and more regularly, and it's tough because, you know, if you're a Scirocco owner, an MK1 Volkswagen owner, you know that sometimes parts are not readily available. Panels, you can forget that. Panels, that's going to have to come out of a salvage yard if you're lucky. You know, I have an extra fender from a long time ago. This one that's the most recent thing I did, is I painted this fender, and also, really going to bite me. I painted this fender as well as the front, and I put that little plastic front spoiler, which you can't see because I'm in the way, I guess. Let's see if we can see it. There you go. So this little front piece down here has to be painted. There's a front spoiler, a little plastic piece. Most of you, you know, with the MK1s, you know, believe me, I had body kits on the other Sciroccos I had. I tried that BVS body kit. There was Zender, there was Cam-I, and they had, you know, even that Reiger body kit. I saw a recent Scirocco up for sale with the Reiger body kit, that wide body kit for this car, which I think looks really, really cool. But I like it factory now. I'm not looking to spend a lot of money on that. I would love to get it repainted, of course, the interior done, and do something. I think I'm going to keep it stock. I dreamt of getting, you know, a 2-liter turbo in this thing, a 1.8 turbo, something like that, out of another Volkswagen or Audi. But I don't think I'm going to do that. These cars are worth a lot more. As I'm looking at cars from that era, when they are stock, they are worth a lot more. And so I think I'm going to try to keep it stock, which it is. The only thing it has. In fact, let's pop the hood on this, and I'll tell you what I've done to it. You saw the interior. So the interior was the Sparko shift knob, the Corbeau racing seat, the Momo steering wheel, and the extra video gauges up top, which were the voltmeter. Had to have the voltmeter. Oil temperature came with it. Oil pressure did not, so it held that. And an extra, you know, even though there's for the cooling system, I put an extra water temperature gauge in there as well, because it has numbers instead of just looking at it. And yeah, then I'll tell you, I'll pop the hood, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I did under the hood. Yep, pop that hood. Now, as I was saying, I had the engine rebuilt. I painted it. I painted the interior. The bay just needs to be cleaned out. And I painted, you know, the pieces like that. You can see this is the new speed upper strut tie bar that I got back in the day, which probably are hard to find. And it's got a new battery, which is great. And I put in a radiator, and I put in a lot of new stuff. There's the tranny down there. That got painted. It was Ford blue, which I didn't like. So I painted it more back to silver, aluminum color, just like this. And, you know, it was back then in 2011, all new belts. The hoses were replaced, and yeah, I did a lot of work. Even the brakes, if you come around here real quick, I want to show you that you can see painted the calipers red. They're cross-drilled rotors, okay? And so they're upgraded brakes on the car, anticipating more power. It does have a 2-inch catback exhaust on it. If it sounded a little funny to you, the car, not a stock sound, and that's because in here I had a racing cam put in, an extreme racing cam. And the other weird noise is it kind of sounds weird because right here the EGR valve. This right here is the EGR valve.
long time ago, I had a Volkswagen shop plug it. You can see the gunk is in there. The line fell out. That's the EGR is the exhaust gas recirculation valve. That's the primitive smog equipment before the oxygen sensor came out in the second generation Scirocco and other Volkswagens. Of course, lots of other cars. And so there you have it. So I put in this dual halo horn. It doesn't work, so I got to get that fixed. I'm not sure what's going on with that as well. And you can see for the gauges, the oil temperature gauge right there. And it does have a K&N air filter in this big box that goes in there. It's got back here, if you can see it's gonna be hard to see, maybe through here. See the red writing on it. That's an ABD short shift on it. You know, a lot of Volkswagen owners always put those short shift kits because the throw on the shifter is very, very long, so that's no fun. So of course, when you want to race, you know, which I would try to do off the line racing back in the day, you get the short shift kit. And I've had different ones. You know, I've worked with Eurosport, New Speed. This one's ABD. I can't remember all the other brands, but you know, now I do have the older suspension on this, and right now you're looking at coilovers, so it looks pretty good. If you look at it from the side here, the fronts have spacers, so they stick out a little bit more than the rears. So I could put spacers in the rear. I ordered them on eBay, the spacers. And yeah, so it has a really cool look. And I put on these decals, vinyl decals. That's the Italian flag. Why? Because it's an Italian design by Giugiaro. And it is, over here, a German car. So there you have it. So there's the insignia from Germany, and that's because the car it is German engineered, Italian design. Those are my two favorite. That's my ultimate favorite. And to get that in a low budget car, in a daily driver, in a car that with a low roof design, that's probably why I'm such a huge Scirocco fan. Is it the best handling car? No. The rear ends are very light and they kick out on the car if you hit the brakes hard. So that's not as ideal, you know. All right, so one quick walk around on the car. This is one of my favorite low budget designs. And I hate to call it that. I should just call it a daily driver rather than low budget. This car did a lot with very, very little. And it looks fantastic, considering it was less than $5,000 when it came out back in the day, which was still great. So let's go ahead and close out this video and just say thanks for watching. If you like Scirocco's, if you've owned an MK1 Scirocco or an MK1 Volkswagen, give me a shout out, give me a like, give me a compliment. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll try to put the car, especially if I do anything to it, any upgrades or just restoration, I'm going to put it definitely on the channel. And you know, like I said, hopefully nothing happens to it. I've been very attached to this car. 2000, I've owned it since 2001. So you are talking a long time. It is 2025, folks. So yeah, this is not an old video. This is a brand new video. And look at that memo steering wheel. Love it. Original video gauges there in the dash, the two big ones. All the other stuff, lots of original stuff on this car. You can see the difference between these newer video gauges versus the old video gauges. You know, the clock there doesn't work. The AC doesn't work. It was aftermarket. AC was put in. I'm not sure if it had an original or not. And these for the side view mirrors, this one doesn't work. But yeah, and I even got these speakers, but they don't have covers, so I never installed them. And because I took the radio out and put these extra video gauges in, there's no reason to put the stereo. But I had a nice Kenwood stereo in this. I've got two stereos for it. So very, very cool. All right, folks. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.